Hi, I'm Hannah, a recent graduate of Exeter University, where I studied modern languages. I'm in the archive at PK Porthcurno, the Museum of Global Communications, where I'm one of a group of 10 students working on a remote research project called PK150 Connected Collections. 5 of us are based in the UK, and we're each partnered with a student based internationally at countries associated with telegraphy in Zimbabwe, India, Portugal, and New Zealand. We have been exploring the collection from different angles through a decolonising lens. This is my first time in the archive, as we have all been working remotely since January earlier this year. We have been able to access the archive remotely, which has informed the projects we have developed. This film is an introduction to our work.
I think because I'm based in New Zealand, we knew going into this project that colonisation or the legacy of New Zealand's colonial history would probably play a part in it. But what was really interesting was how much of a part it played. When you start looking at something through the lens of the telegraph, you don't necessarily think you're going to find a whole lot of multidimensional, imbricated ecologies to do with that. So using an interactive map, which we did, that was the medium through which we presented, allowed us to explore everything in a way that we wouldn't have been able to do in a linear fashion with written work. Eleanor, do you want to talk about the map?
Yeah, of course. I think that's really right. I think during the research stages, we had found so many interesting kind of strands through the archives at PK that it felt incredibly reductive almost, that we would have to omit through any other medium of presentation. We'd have to omit so much of our research, and I think so much of it that we felt was really pertinent to the cable in New Zealand. So I think that the map really was the best way to present everything. And Alice and Nikki were incredibly supportive of both our decision and kind of making the map itself. And I think it's something that we're both incredibly proud of.
Hi, I'm Ruthvi, an engineering graduate from IIT Bombay, India. Did you know that the first international telegraph line was brought ashore at Porthcurno over 150 years ago, and that it connected Britain to India? In our project with PK Porthcurno, Hannah and I have researched on the impact of telegraph linkage between Britain and India from a linguistic point of view. Our project also briefly encapsulates the modern language landscape of India and how the relationship between English and the Indian languages has evolved over time.
Hi, I'm Hannah, and I've been working with Rootv on a project that looks at language linked to the telegraph. I've explored the Marconi code, which is one of the codes used in wireless telegraphy, and the Marconi map, which shows the primary languages used in telegraphy in different parts of the world. However, our main project involves making a video that explores the history of the telegraph in India and the impact of the English language there in relation to telegraphy.
Namaste, I am Prabhat Rathwa from Mumbai, India. I am studying BTech Engineering at IIT Bombay. I would describe the project Connected Collections into 5 phases: knowledge and research, accessibility to archive, rich heritage, advisory group, and community engagement. Throughout the project, I have focused on themes exploring telegraph cable engineering, plantations, and unsustainable ecology. Most fascinating aspect on my part is a case study on role of telegraph in imperial communication at the time of Indian Mutiny in 1857.
Hi, I'm Jasmine from Hong Kong. I studied archaeology at the University of Exeter.
Our project aims to study how telegraph impacts the Far East in the colonial era, and we wanted to explore the Singapore station as it was a former British colony, and it was once a melting pot that connected Europe, India, islands, and the Eastern Asia. Yet, the history of this station is less investigated, so this project aims to provide a web page that people can access information of this Singapore station?
We really wanted to, the archive has so many things that I don't think that a lot of people are aware of that. And it mixes so many topics, like for instance, we've seen that all the groups have different topics and only in one archive, and it shows that there's a lot to explore there. And that's what we aim to do, is to show that where is the archive, how it works, how things are categorized and how they are kept. And for me, it was really interesting because I didn't know how it worked. So at least I have a glimpse of how it is.
I'm Ian Tawanda Mgoa from Great Zimbabwe University, studying archaeology, museums and heritage. I'm also part of this project, PK150 Connected Collections, researching on the history of telegraphy in Zimbabwe. Telegraphy as a tool of imperialism and also the African resistance to the foreign technology. Here in Zimbabwe, the telegraph issue was very instrumental in causing the famous Anglo-Ndebele War of 1893 to 1894. So it's kind of interesting story.
Hello, I'm Jay. I'm a Citizen Curator for PK Porthcurno, and I wanted to say that this opportunity has given me an outlet to be creative. By opening its archives and giving me the creative license to respond to its contents in whatever way I feel, I've made connections and developed stories that I perhaps would never have thought about. I have recently made a blog that I've called Strands, and in the blog I have wrote about lots of different things: death, seashells, magic, worms, things we don't usually associate with telecommunication, but things that have emerged by having the courage to be creative with the archive, by responding to it in my own way.
I think going through a process with the students where, they're all a really bright group, but that moment where you start exploring, where you step out of English identity as a personal individual and start looking at English and British identity in terms of history and empire and globalization. Everyone keeps saying lingua franca, the power of the English language and its relationship with India being explored through that generation. I found fascinating. I think we all learned a lot from it.
Hello, I am Alice Howard and I'm the Archive Research Facilitator on this project. I have been enabling the remote access for the students to the Porthcurno archive. I am astounded by the hard work all the students have put into this project. My favourite part of this project so far has been getting to know the students and having really interesting conversations with them about the impact of communication in countries such as Zimbabwe, New Zealand, Singapore and India. I am really looking forward to all of their work to become available on the Porthcurno website.